When I first had the idea of starting this channel and doing a podcast, trying to do a weekly podcast, potentially 2 a week, there's a few reasons I've done it. One, I thought it would be fun and enjoyable, and to be fair, I know I've only been doing it for a few weeks, but it has been. I actually look forward to recording it. Look forward to researching a few articles beforehand when I know what I want to talk about, and it has been good fun. Secondly, it gives me an opportunity to talk about what I want to talk about, basically, and if people want to listen, then fantastic, brilliant. If people don't, I still enjoy doing it, and talking on a podcast for an hour gives me the opportunity to be able to say what I want more than a post on X or something I put up on Facebook. When you have limited characters, and it's difficult to actually convey the emotion or the subtlety in what you're saying, whereas when you're doing it on a camera using your voice, you can say what you want to. The third reason I wanted to do a podcast, and actually the main reason, was to talk about men's mental health. This is something that has afflicted me directly, has had a massive impact on my life, something I have a lot of experience in. And it's not just me, it has affected people that I know, people who are very close to me, and in one case in particular, it affected a friend of mine in the worst of ways. As long as I'm doing this podcast, I'm always going to talk about what I want to talk about, have fun where I can, talk about some serious stuff, but it's always going to come back to the core reason I started this podcast, and that is men's mental health. Now, this evening's episode, I'm going to be talking about my mate, James. Not a day goes by that he's not on my mind. I'm going to talk about myself as well, and just things I've experienced. And I'm going to be talking about the worst parts of people who struggle with their mental health. So heads up, viewer discretion advised. It's going to be a tough episode to do, and a tough listen, but it's done with the best of intentions, and it is an incredibly important subject matter to me that I will not shut up about, because I get it, and if I can help but one person, then job done. So this is Stu Know Who. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like the damn video. Let's get into tonight's episode. So, I've mentioned on a couple of previous episodes I've done, that myself, I've suffered with depression, and at times very severe depression, that led me to very nearly not being here anymore. Thankfully, that was a few years ago now, and for me, other people might be different. I don't think my depression will ever go away. It's something that, at least for me, is always going to be there. And at those times in life when it gets shit, it's going to rear its ugly head again. The difference now is I know more how to deal with it. I know it will pass. And I enjoy the things that I want to enjoy more in my life. This past couple of years have been personally very difficult. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs. There's been a lot of stuff going on. In the mix of all that, we did welcome our third child into the world, and she was seriously ill in hospital for the first week. But she's happy and healthy now. So it's important to find the positives where you can. A week ago, my father-in-law tragically passed away, and it was unexpected, and we all love him to bits. I say that just to say that, yeah, I've been through some shit over the past couple of years, but I know I'm in a better position, a better place now to be able to deal with these stones that are thrown in your direction in life, or rocks, massive fucking boulders, to be honest, the last couple of years. But I can deal with them better than I used to be able to, and I can enjoy the good times more than I used to be able to as well. Now, when it comes to men's mental health, there's a couple of reasons I'm focusing on men in particular. One, I am a man. And two, suicide is a massive issue for men in particular. Now, to pull up Wikipedia here, this is titled Suicide in the UK. Just to jump down to the statistics on it. Age standardized rates generally fell between 1981 and 2007. 2007 also marked a low point in female suicides in the UK. In 2017, the suicide rate was 10.1 deaths per 100,000 population, one of the lowest recorded by the ONS since it began its time series of suicides in 1981. In terms of the male suicide rate specifically, 2017 was statistically the lowest rate since 1981 at 15.5 deaths per 1,000. However, the continued suicide rates as a whole in England and Wales have increased since 2017 to reach a peak of 11.4 deaths per 100,000 in 2023, which is the highest rate since 1999. The male suicide rate in England and Wales increased from 16.4 deaths per 100,000 to 17.4 between 2022 and 2023. The highest rate of suicide was recorded as 21.4 per 100,000 in 1988. Male suicides, this is one here, male suicides have consistently accounted for approximately 3/4 of all suicides in the UK. 3/4 of suicides are men. 74.1% in England and Wales in 2022 were men. Suicide is a massive issue for fellas, for guys like me. I nearly was one of those statistics A good mate of mine, I will never call him a statistic, he's far more than that, but he is in those numbers. And this guy was a father. You know, he left behind children, a mum who worshipped him, that I still see from time to time, and my heart breaks every time that I do. A circle of mates who thought he was fucking hilarious, because he was a funny guy. His arse stunk. You know, he could clear a room. When he dropped his gush, you knew. But heart of gold. Genuine heart of gold that would help anyone. Now, going back to those figures, 3/4 of suicides are guys like my mate, guys like me. Dads, sons, brothers, uncles, friends, husbands. It is the biggest killer of men under 50 years old. I am a man under 50. I'm more likely to die by my own hands than by any other means. Clearly there is an issue. That's why I'm so passionate about talking about this, because I don't just look at the statistics and say, fuck me, something is wrong here. I look at the statistics and say, it's not just me that's been there. And it's scary to think that I can look back at a younger me from 8 years ago and just think, how did I get to that point where I felt that taking my own life was the only way out for me? It's not. The reason I'm still here, I've gone into it in a past episode. My daughter woke up from a nap at the time I was going to take my life. You know, what if that had happened 30 seconds later? I wouldn't be here. Sometimes it's little things like that can happen that can change the trajectory of someone's life. Perhaps save their life. My 9-year-old daughter, she doesn't know why, but she saved my life. Just through luck of timing or fate or whatever you may call it. And that led me down a path of helping myself and then striving to help others. Because when I needed help, there were people there to catch me. So if I can catch others and help them in the same way, and if we can all strive to do that, the world will be a better place. This isn't about men taking their life, because anyone who takes their life leaves behind such a trail of destruction. My friend took his life about 18 months ago, and every day he's on my mind. I will see something and think, it'll just bring back a memory. Losing anyone, as this past week has shown me, losing anyone is it's beyond devastating. It is a trail of destruction that's left behind, but it's something else when you lose someone to suicide. There's a sense of guilt. Sense of guilt that I'm still stuck with. And I can, if someone else was feeling like me, I would say, but what could you have done? But I can't say that to myself because I'm still feeling guilty. Question is, and I suppose this is the £1,000,000 question, isn't it? Why is suicide rate higher in men? If we can answer this tonight, then it'd be quite an important episode, like, you know what I mean? Off the bat, I just want to say, there is no magic answer. I wish there was. But hopefully a few little tips along the way, and maybe it could reach that one person. Maybe someone watching this knows someone who's struggling and can point them in this direction. Or in a direction that I might try pointing you to later in this episode and say, give it a go. So, to read through this article, it says it's a difficult and complex question. There is no single reason why suicide rates are higher in men. Suicide is deeply complex, and every person's situation is different. It is. It genuinely is. The feelings can be very similar though. However, patterns in research and statistics suggest several factors that may help explain why men are more at risk. Each year in England and Wales, over 6,000 people die by suicide. Whilst women are more likely to be diagnosed with depression or attempt suicide, men account for around 3/4. So, some key points. Men make up the most suicide deaths in the UK. Men aged 45 to 64 have the highest suicide rate, and suicide is one of the leading causes of death among young males. Continues to say these figures are alarming and raise important questions. So the next sentence, social expectations and gender roles. From a young age, many men are taught to be strong, self-reliant and emotionally reserved. Phrases like man up or boys don't cry can discourage emotional openness. As a result, men may feel shame or failure when struggling with mental health. Asking for help can feel like weakness, even though it is not. The cultural pressure may prevent many men from seeking support until they reach crisis point. I will say one more thing on this note as well. I'm trying to steer way clear of politics when I talk about this, because this is more important than politics to me. But for how long now have men been blamed for all the ills of the world? Whenever a bloke shows any sign of strength, it's toxic masculinity. Bloke stands up for himself, toxic masculinity. Bloke does anything, with the problem. And that seems to be a new thing where blame men, especially straight white men, blame them. There are some blokes out there who are arseholes. Trust me, I've met enough of them along the way. But in my experience, most blokes I encounter are just decent guys. Decent, hard-working, caring, loving, diamond geezers. Yeah, we're all tarred with the same brush. And that definitely has an impact, whether the people spewing that nonsense want to admit it or not. So to continue, next paragraph, difficulty talking about feelings. Men are often less likely to talk openly about emotional distress. That is true. Many keep their feelings to themselves rather than sharing them with friends, family or professionals. I call it doing an ostrich impression. We bury our fucking heads and pretend it's not there. That is a bloke thing for sure. Surveys suggest that a large number of men have never spoken to anyone about their mental health. even though many experience anxiety, stress, or depression. Do you know, I've had conversations with people since I nearly took my life, and I've got involved in what I do regarding men's mental health. So many people who knew me better than anyone are surprised when I say, yeah, I was that bad, because we get good at hiding it. It continues to say, keeping emotions bottled up can increase feelings of isolation and hopelessness. Yes, sir. Alcohol and substance abuse. Some men turn to alcohol or drugs as a way to cope with emotional pain. While this may bring them short-term relief, alcohol is a depressant and can make mental health problems worse over time. Alcohol can also lower inhibitions and increase impulsivity, which can raise the risk of suicide during moments of crisis. Financial work and pressures. Financial stress, unemployment, or job insecurity can hit men particularly hard, especially if they feel responsible for providing for others. The last few years we have had, since 2008, the financial crisis. It's going back to the stats that I read on the previous one. The previous article that I pulled up, where 2007 were the lowest numbers, the lowest stats for men and women taking their own life, and have been on an upward trajectory since then. 2008, we had the financial crash. You don't need money to be happy. But if you want to know what true sadness feels like, have none. When you are struggling to put food on the table for your family, when you are made redundant out of the job, cannot find meaningful work, where you are no longer an employee but a number, because the employment rates are that high, they can just replace you with someone else. It's no surprise to me that since 2008, or 2007 was the lowest number since the 90s in suicides, and it's been creeping up ever since. We had the financial crisis, where the bankers who caused it, they got paid. They're doing alright. The peasants at the bottom, the useless eaters, we're the ones who got shafted big time. We had years of austerity, then COVID, then the lockdowns, then the further lockdowns, then the even further lockdowns. And when lockdowns were completely finished, we had more of them. Psychological torture. And as soon as we're finally allowed out of our jail cells that used to be our homes, a war starts on our doorstep. And then another war in the Middle East. You can see why people are just fed up. And whilst money shouldn't be the most important thing, money does make the world go around. And as I said, money doesn't make you happy. But when you are that hard up that you are struggling, trust me, it can bring you down. So to continue with this article, when expectations around success or stability are not met, some men may experience intense shame or loss of identity. These pressures can contribute to feelings of worthlessness or despair. And the final thoughts, they say, suicide in men is not caused by one issue, but a combination of social, emotional, and personal factors. What is clear that men need safe spaces to talk, support without judgment, and earlier access to mental health. If you are struggling, please reach out. Talking can feel difficult, but it also saves lives. As simple as it seems, actually talking. I help run a group for men where they go and they talk. And do you know what? We do what blokes do as well. It's quite funny, I would never breach anyone's confidence. That's one of our rules. What is said in the room stays in the room. But what is quite funny is when we meet up before it starts and blokes do what blokes do. We're telling jokes and we're talking about this and that and not talking about how we're feeling inside. Even though we're all there for that, we go inside this safe room and it's like those barriers have come down and we talk. And we get better at talking about it outside, and we get better at talking about it with our family members and everything, because we're getting more comfortable and more used to talking. And we also see that the more we talk, rather than bottle it up and hide it, it helps. It genuinely does help. But it still feels alien for us guys to actually do it. It shouldn't do. And those who care about you will care about you enough. One thing I said on a previous episode, it's better to have a difficult conversation today than it is not to be able to have it tomorrow. And those conversations, they're fucking tough sometimes. You'd rather have that conversation than not be able to. The more us blokes talk, stop doing that ostrich impression and be honest, the better you will feel and the quicker you will get there. It's not a magic bullet, but it is a tool, a very useful tool to help in your redemption, your way of improving your mental health. Something as simple as talking. But us guys also need that place to talk. Sometimes it doesn't work. That's not to say don't try it. Don't give it a go. Don't give yourself the best chance you can to help yourself. Now, I help run a mental health group for blokes to come, to open up, to have a chat, not feel isolated. It's something I read on the last article about that thought of isolation. I felt that depression it's a fucking lonely place. It is. Anyone who's ever suffered true depression, just how bloody horrible it is and how alone you feel. So I help run a group. I volunteer with a few other guys who are all legends, who all volunteer their time, and they volunteer their time because they've been through it as well. They know what that pain is like. I've had the privilege of meeting some incredible guys. Every guy who comes to our group or a group similar to ours, prepared to help themselves the best they can. Any guy who does that is a fucking legend. Because actually, it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. You feel weak and vulnerable. It's not built into us to open up and talk. So any guy prepared to do that my hat goes off to him. And I've met just some absolutely incredible people who have walked through our doors, many of whom I've become very good friends with. A few years ago now, we were outside our meeting place. I was having a vape. A couple of lads were having a fag. And a guy turned up for his first night. Me and another mate of mine, Tom, we went over to his car, said hello, welcomed him in, and within a couple of weeks, it's like we'd known him for years. Within a couple of months, this guy was volunteering with us to help other people. He had a genuine heart of gold. A rotten arse, but a heart of gold. And I mean that with the deepest of respect. He was proud of his rotten arse. I shit you not, could clear a room. And was damn proud of it too. Now, I'm not going to go into the ins and outs. I've given his name. James may or may not be his real name. And I would not say any more than that. He'd been through a real time of it. Was going through a real time of it. This guy he'd done a job where he helped people. He volunteered for a charity to help people. He was a loving and devoted son. Above all else, he was a father. And just a genuinely damn decent bloke. Said earlier in this episode, I don't think I will ever be over my depression. It has a nasty habit of coming back and biting you on the fucking arse just when you think you are clear of it. My mate had a week or two before he took his life. We noticed he was struggling, and we talked to him. He talked to us. But there's still an instinct within guys to not fully open up for that fear of appearing weak, which you're not. You are not weak, and actually admitting it is one of the toughest things to ever do. That's the complete opposite of weakness. He went out one night and he didn't come home. I remember I was in the kitchen. I was cooking tea or something, and all of a sudden I got a phone call from a mutual friend saying that he's we don't know where he is. I spent hours on the phone to other mutual friends to police officers. I got a phone call later on that evening that I didn't want to get. No one ever wants to get a phone call like that. I was messaging him. We were messaging each other a couple days before. I had no idea. No clue. No fucking clue. If I'd known, I don't know if I could have done anything. But that is why it's so important for guys to not bottle that shit up and be honest and have that tough conversation. When we run our groups on a Monday, we have his t-shirt, his picture framed. It's the first thing you see when you walk through our door, because he's with us all the time. And I know a lot of the guys who volunteer hit us all for 6. His funeral, I met his kids for the first time, and fuck me, they were my kids' age. I'm lucky in a way that I've gotten to know his mum since. His mum, who, the first time I met her, I'd spoken with her on the phone, and the first time I met her, my first thought was, you don't have to introduce yourself. I know who you are, because your son was the spit of you. She thanked us, and I wanted her to, in a weird way, I wanted her to shout, to be annoyed with us or something, because we're supposed to be his mates, and there's no way there's no right way of dealing with a situation like that. There's no thing you are supposed to do, no thing you are supposed to say, supposed to feel. It affects everyone, just like mental health in general. It affects everyone differently. Grief is the only thing I can say is knowing the trail of destruction that was left behind. I don't want to see anyone go through that again. I don't. And I feel genuinely, from a selfish point of view, guilty that I nearly put my family through that years beforehand. Not because I wanted to hurt them, but because I was hurting. And I did not know where to go, what to do, how to help myself. Suicide it's not the way, it's not It's not the option. It's not. It might end your pain, but that pain is only filtered down to those you care about. That's why, to go back to why I first wanted to start a channel, and why I'm so passionate about this subject matter. I don't want to see anyone go through what I've seen other people go through. I don't want people to hurt like I've hurt. I don't want people to loathe themselves the same way that I loathed myself. I have 3 kids who idolize me. I'm happily married. And life can still be shit, but I know I've got that support around me. I've been to rock bottom, and it takes a lot of hard work. And life has a way of kicking you square in the bollocks and trying to bring you back down. But you can become more resilient, more stronger, a better version of yourself. It takes work though. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of challenges to overcome. But giving up is not an option. Now, again, viewer/listener discretion advised. Because this article I've pulled up is specifically about suicide. This article is about losing someone to said suicide. It's on headsupguys.org. So coping with a suicide loss is brutally tough, but you can do it. Yeah, it is tough, and I'm still struggling with it now. The article says take each day one at a time. Lean on friends and family and talk to them about your grief. And you know, one of the best things I did was I went to the woods where they found him with, I think there's about 12 of us. The night after they found him, we went up there, had some cigars, had some beers, and told some fucking jokes. James, our mate, was a filthy fucker. Heart of colds, but he had a sense of humour. And going up there and cracking those jokes and dropping some flowers off. I got picked up by a mate of mine and we stopped for some flowers. We bought him some pink roses because I could picture him telling us to fuck off for getting him pink roses. And we were honest. And we didn't know how to grieve. But we were together. The article continues, grieving the loss of a friend or a loved one under any circumstance is tough. But deaths by suicide can be even harder to understand, especially when the loss was unexpected. Suicide cuts lives tragically short and has a profound impact on friends, family members, partners, and the larger communities a guy was a part of. It's important to understand that the intense emotional pain of depression, when it's at its worst, can make it almost impossible for someone to believe they can recover. I too felt that. The despair can be relentless, with death seeming the only way to escape their pain. Understood in this way, suicide is recognised as reflecting the severity of one's depression rather than any lack of will or effort to get better. Looking for one event or reason that led to someone's suicide often isn't possible and oversimplifies the severity of the illness they are facing. When someone ends their life, it's very complex, and we may never understand all the factors that influenced a person to take such a desperate action. Suicide doesn't reflect the person's character, but rather gives us a sense of just how overwhelming their pain was. The happy memories you have of the person are who they really were, and that is what is important to hold on to. As I said, we went to where he took his life, and we told jokes. We cried, and we hugged each other. We ripped the piss out of each other. We remembered him as our mate. He is our mate. There's no right or wrong way to grieve. But it's important you do. It is important you do grieve. Just like with depression as a whole, it is important that you don't hide it. Don't do your ostrich impression and bury your head. Pretending it's not there doesn't make it go away. It's still there. If you don't get rid of that pain, you're only going to add to it. And you add to it, eventually, at some point, it's going to come out. One way or the other. Sometimes it takes the actual worst in life to bring out the best in people, and I saw that with a lot of guys. I saw it have such an impact on everyone that we both knew. I saw it have such a massive impact on myself. There's no textbook, there's no answer, no template of how you grieve. Everyone is individual. As I said, the important thing is to grieve. So to go back to this article, struggling with suicide loss. If you've lost someone to suicide, it's normal to feel a wide range of overwhelming emotions. You may feel shocked, confused, angry, sad, and abandoned. It's also common to struggle with feelings of guilt. I wish you had noticed any warning signs or done more to help. It's very likely, though, that the man you've lost was shielding you from how badly he felt. Perhaps believing he was protecting you from being burdened by him. Whatever feelings you're having, know that it's okay and let yourself feel without judgment. That is extremely important, especially for people who may typically not like to show their emotions. Allow yourself to grieve, feel it, comfort it, and process it. Expressing these emotions, whatever they are, keeps you from bottling things up and feeling worse in the long run, and you do feel worse if you bottle it up. I know that personally. Just like going for a run can relieve stress, releasing one's feelings can do the same. Though you may feel alone, there are others who have faced similar tragedies in their life. You may want to check in with your local mental health centre or search online for suicide survivors to find support groups in your area. If more than a month passes without the intensity of these feelings lifting, it's important to reach out for additional support with your doctor and or a mental health professional. Letting others know. The misunderstanding and stigma around suicide can make it hard for you to let others know what happens, but this in turn makes it harder to receive support from your friends and family. Being more transparent about the suicide death of your family member or loved one will help your friends and family members to fully support you, as they can better appreciate what you're going through. Though every situation is different, The vast majority of people are glad they opened up about the realities of the tragedy they are dealing with. Speaking about suicide also helps to open up important conversations about mental health, which may make others reach out in the future, which is why I'm doing this podcast that has nearly broken me down a few times, because I know it's important to talk about, and hopefully someone listening will have that conversation. And that is what I want. So supporting a friend. 1, let them know you're there. Often what someone needs most is simply a shoulder to lean on and a friend to listen to. It's true, we don't need answers. Sometimes there are no answers. You just need to know you're being heard. And just offering that ear and that shoulder. 2, create a safe space to talk about suicide. It's not something you're going to talk about at a school gate, on the school run, dropping your kids off. It's important to talk about it, and having a place, whether it's down the pub or around at someone's house or a specific group where people go, actually going and having that conversation is important. Follow up with them. Over the next few days or months, it will be important to remind your friend that you are available to talk. They may be reluctant at first, some people might not want to, but just knowing you're there can also help. If they are struggling, suggest seeking out professional support. Not always possible or easy to get hold of, but there are a lot of fantastic charities who do stuff. The internet, with all of its flaws and all of its faults, does have some very important and very useful things on there. And you can find a group near you, whether it's online, in person, wherever it may be. Though you want to help your friend as much as possible, a therapist or support group will have much more experience in helping someone after suicide. And then reducing stigma around suicide. So as our societies evolve, so does our use of language, especially when it comes to more complicated topics like suicide. Using more considerate language can increase our understanding, limit grief, and ultimately may even help save lives. So we've provided some brief language guidelines aimed at changing our society's perception of suicide. People do not commit suicide now, they die by suicide. Attempting suicide, I believe, used to be an actual crime. It's a tragedy, is what it is. Again, successful suicide, there's no success in it. It's died by suicide or fatal suicide attempt. Choose suicide. People don't choose it. Depression takes over. So again, it's died by suicide. These sound like such simple little things. I know they do. But sometimes when we're talking about it, it's important to having those conversations, first and foremost, is the most important thing. Have those conversations. But it is a very complicated and a very delicate subject. And actually trying to do an episode where I'm talking about it, I feel like I'm constantly trying to make sure I say the right things, because the last thing you want to do is upset somebody when what you are trying to do is help. Now, with regards to help, I've mentioned on this episode that I nearly took my life. I started going to a group and it helped me, and then I started volunteer at that group. That's how I first met James, who then started to volunteer at this group as well. And I've met countless people who, I've seen people who were in the same boat as I was, who no longer need our group anymore and have completely turned their lives around just with a change of mindset and knowing that they're not by themselves with it and taking those positive steps. Sometimes it doesn't go that way, but there's no reason not to strive and to try and to give yourself every possibility and every chance. I'm going to bring up the group that I used, a group with groups all over the country, an incredible group that has saved countless people's lives, give kids their dads back. If you want a reference, speak with my children, because this place gave my kids their dad back, gave my wife her husband back. And if it's not this place, then another one or another one. And one thing I will say is, if you try one and it doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean none of them will work for you. Once you've tried it, a good half a dozen times, if it's not for you, try the next one. Don't give up. Something is out there that will help you through the shit you are going through right now. Now, the group I'm talking about is Andy's Man Club, and not a paid sponsor or anything like that. I'm not an employee of this. I do volunteer for them. I do promote them wherever I can, because this place helps to save my life. And this place is, it's very simple. Guys, sit in a circle and talk. There's more structure to it than that, but it is very simple. And it's just having that place where guys can, we say what is said in a room stays in a room. Unless you are an immediate risk to yourself, then we'll get you the help where needed. There's a place where you can just go in and talk, and we have guys who will talk about stuff that happened 40 years ago and I've never told a soul. And the guys in the room will listen. We all listen. We're not going to grill you. We're not going to give you answers. We're going to give you a shoulder and an ear. And then afterwards, say, well done, because that was bloody hard. I go here every Monday. These aren't a group of blokes, it's a group of mates, group of brothers that I care deeply for. So this group, I can say, look, I know fully just how good this group has been for me, but it's not for everyone. If it's not for you, give it a go. Give it a go. What have you got to lose? Nothing. 2 hours. That's the way I viewed it first time I went. It's 2 hours. Why not? That was 7 years ago. It's changed me for the better. But there are so many other groups about it as well. Find the one that is for you. Actually talk. Don't bottle that shit up, because it does not go away. It's only through talking and releasing it. It's like a pressure relief valve. If you don't release it, that pressure is going to build up. Now, if you found somewhere online, go give it a go. There is an issue with groups like this, and that is they're not 24/7. Where'd you go in between? The Samaritans are there 24/7. I know, especially this time of year, can be very difficult for a lot of people. These are here 24/7. Ring them 116 123, and again, talk. And it is that simple. Knowing that someone actually wants to listen and someone cares enough to hear what you're saying. You don't have to go through what you're going through by yourself. There are places and people out there who will care, who do care. You have to let them in, allow them to care. You have to care about yourself though. You have to take the steps, you have to put the work in. And do you know what? Yes, it is fucking hard. But yeah, it is worth it. I'm gonna wrap it up now. One thing I will say is, if you're still listening, thank you so much. I hope this has been helpful to someone. That is my biggest wish with this episode, that it helps someone. If you've watched this and think, do you know what, I know Joe Bloggs down the road who's going through a bit of a hard time, go and speak with Joe Bloggs. You don't have to show him this video. I mean, if you want to, great, because it gets my views up. But serious, just go and have a chat with your neighbour, your mate, your family member, whoever it may be. Check in on each other. If you're not okay, tell people. Don't have to do it by yourself. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that jazz. Like the damn video. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see you later.